Nigeria, welcome to Newsline. I am Becky Madujemu. As always, we are fully prepared to wow you. A string of cultural events define our first segment, after which dramatic, relatable features will follow. Newsline will take a look at the new approach young men in Nigeria are adopting when they propose marriage to their partner. In the past, the suitor simply said, "Take me to your parents. I want to marry you." But that was then. These days, marriage proposal totally humbles the intending groom. Why is that? Another issue is the affordability of bride price. In that report, we will examine factors that determine a lady's price tag. Another interesting twist to this arrangement is polygamy. Yes, I see that got your attention. Wait until you hear public responses and your jaw will drop. Along the line, victims of human trafficking will reveal what they had to go through after they succumbed to the grass is greener syndrome. I can sense you are making yourself comfortable because you can already tell that this edition is fabulous. I will, however, return after the news by Ogwa Vivian Oyedibia. Over to you now.
Good evening and welcome to the news segment of Newsline. A special interdenominational Thanksgiving service to round off activities marking the 30th anniversary of Akwa Ibom State has been held. Clement Barikui reports that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the service urged the people not to relent in contributing to overall development of the country.
The interdenominational Thanksgiving service was yet another opportunity to appreciate God for Akwa Ibom State at 30 and the unity of Nigeria at 57. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, described Thanksgiving as a great tool for spiritual warfare. Citing the biblical story of the 10 lepers in Luke chapter 17 verse 11, Professor Osinbajo noted that the rewards of Thanksgiving are enormous, adding that the decision of Akwa Ibom State government to give thanks to God is expedient.
And so I speak concerning this state, that indeed your sun shall no longer go down, your moon shall not withdraw itself, for the Lord will be your everlasting light, and the days of sadness, the days of mourning for you have ended, in the mighty name of the Lord Jesus.
Governor Dom Emmanuel acknowledged that the creation of Akwa Ibom State is an answer to the cries of the people, hence the need to appreciate God for 30 successful years.
We should remember that we are men and women of honor as we celebrate these 30 years. We are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, the only state named after God.
Preaching on the theme, "Shine for thy light has come," Bishop M.I. Son prayed that the light of God will continually shine on Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria at large as the country prepares to celebrate 57 years of existence. The Thanksgiving service featured prayers for the economic prosperity of Nigeria and progress of Akwa Ibom State. From Uyo Township Stadium, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
Into education matters now. Minister of Education Malam Adamu says more than 600 billion naira is needed to fix the infrastructural decay and abandoned projects created by previous administrations in the 61 Nigerian polytechnics. He stated this at the 19th convocation of the Federal Polytechnic Nikede, Owerri. Reina Ohiri reports.
The Education Minister, Malam Adamu, whose address was read by the Executive Secretary, National Board for Technical Education, Dr. Masudu Adamu Kazaure, said government plans to embark on revitalization projects aimed at supporting Nigeria polytechnics to provide the needed skills.
Our resolve, however, is to do everything possible to shape up the economic state of the education system by applying huge amounts of funds, significantly improve facilities for teaching, learning, teacher quality and welfare, as well as curriculum delivery.
Director of the Polytechnic, Dr. Sele Njoko, and the Chairman, Governing Council, Chief Edwin Ogumbo, in their separate addresses, called on the federal government to look closely towards polytechnic education for the youth as a sure way of sustaining Nigeria's exit from recession.
It is well known that the Polytechnic is the first place
is to lay the foundation for technical and vocational base of any country that wants to be like the rest of advanced countries.
Highlight of the convocation was the award of ND and HND certificates to the 2014-2015 and 2015-2016 graduating students, as well as 4 eminent Nigerians who backed the award of Fellow of Federal Polytechnic Nekede. In Owerri, Rina Ohiri, NTA News.
And away from that, the federal government says it has taken steps to address issues of multiple taxation, infrastructure and other impediments to smooth operations of airlines in the country with the inauguration of a presidential task force. The Minister of State Aviation, Hadi Sirika, emphasized the need to maintain global service standards.
This is not the first time that this kind of committee has been set. I remember some years ago that had been a committee set up for similar purpose.
The task force, set up on directive from the presidency, has the mandate to negotiate bilateral air service agreement. BADA, the 10-man committee, has Hadi Sirika as chairman. Well, Nigeria is just coming out of recession, needs all hands on deck to help stabilize its economy for meaningful development to take place. Minister of Communications Adebayo Shitu just conferred with the chairmanship of Board of Trustees of the Muhammadu Buhari Oshibajo Dynamic Support Group, appealed to Nigerians to have faith in the present administration as it strives to fulfill its promises of positive change.
Every government requires the support of the people to succeed. Particularly so is the fact that we are in a political government rather than a military government.
We encourage Nigerians, all of us, instead of dividing ourselves based on sectional or regional parties and all that, the only party right now exists as a national party is the APC.
Well, building collapse and poor infrastructure can be drastically checked through ensuring the sale and use of quality and approved civil and structured materials. This was the outcome of a meeting between the Standards Organization of Nigeria and traders of building materials at the Day-Day Market in Abuja. Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji reports.
Organized to sensitize the traders on the need to ensure the supply of quality building materials to the public. Assistant Director Operations, Standards Organization of Nigeria, said substandard products cost the nation huge losses and erode investor confidence, especially when infrastructures cannot stand the test of time.
We are empowered to enter into any process to ascertain the quality of our product with all our information. And if we receive any complaint on any low product, the power they took on us, we can arrest you, close your shop, confiscate, destroy, fine, and prosecute you.
Director of Building Management in the organization, Engineer Adidas Karim, also expressed commitment to continue to partner with traders to ensure materials sold in the market meet approved standards. Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji, NTA News.
And to agriculture now, where the federal government says it is ready to deal with any importer or marketer who engages in the selling or distribution of fake and substandard seeds to farmers. This is coming as the government is set to strengthen her seeds distribution network nationwide. Musa Baba Aliu has the details.
It is estimated that seed demand in Nigeria for 2016-2017 farming activities is put at over 500,000 metric tons. The country, however, has the capacity to produce about 200,000 metric tons, valued at 100 billion naira. It has been discovered that some producers and marketers are taking the advantage of the gap between demand and supply of seeds to distribute and sell fake seeds to farmers.
NFC provided the list of registered and accredited seed dealers in the country to some agencies whose activities involve supply of artificial seeds. Some of the agencies, including government-funded agencies.
The National Agricultural Seed Council of Nigeria says it has commenced investigation and set to revoke the license of any company found guilty of selling substandard seeds and seedlings in Nigeria.
It is unlawful, therefore, for any one organization to sell, keep for sale, or offer to sell any seed unless the seed has passed through the process of certification and found to have conformed to the standards set for the class of seed.
The National Agricultural Seed Council of Nigeria, a parastatal of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, was established to produce and regulate the production, supply and distribution of seeds in the country. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Nigerian youths under the aegis of Youths of Peace staged a walk in Abuja to register the indivisibility of Nigeria. Adebola Brooksland Sunday brings us the details.
Their takeoff point was the National Women Development Center. They walked through Ladoke Akintola Boulevard towards the Unity Fountain.
Records have shown that it is not just enough to talk about peace. One must believe it, at the same time work for it. The reason these young Nigerians are matching their words with action, as the future of the country belongs to them.
Youths from all parts of Nigeria have decided on their own to live in peace, and no power, no person can divide us.
By the grace of God, we are taking it to the all sea geopolitical zone of the country. From the sea geopolitical zone, then we are stepping to all the 36 states.
Another message that has been sent out to the entire Nigerian youths here is that whenever they are called upon to cause any problem or crisis, their response should be, we are our brothers' keepers and not our brothers' killers.
We are together. Many believe that if the wish and aspiration of these youths become a reality, Nigeria and indeed the world will experience total and lasting peace. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
3 states that will represent Southwest at this year's NNPC Annual Science Quiz Competition, slated for October, have emerged. Ogun and Ondo states with the score tie came first, while Lagos took 3rd position at the Southwest Zonal Final of the NNPC Quiz Competition held at Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State. This is contained in a press statement signed by the Group General Manager Undu Ugwamadu. It adds that the increase in monetary value of the scholarship awards to 300,000 naira, 250,000 naira and 200,000 naira for 1st, 2nd and 3rd place winners at the grand finale to cover every year of an awardee's tertiary education was additional innovation to this year's competition. It noted that the West African Examinations Council WAEC had created additional value in the standardization of question and integrity of test administration in the 5 subjects for the competition. The Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, has urged Saudi Arabia to take advantage of investment opportunities currently available in Nigeria. The Minister of State was speaking during the 87th Saudi National Day celebration in Abuja. Garba Muhammad Natala reports.
Saudi Arabia's National Day is marked on every 23rd of September. The day commemorates with the founding of Saudi state in 1932 by King Abdul Aziz Al Saud, as well as their rich cultural heritage. Friends of the kingdom from all walks of life took time out of their busy schedules to participate in the celebration in Abuja. Aside the merrying, dining and wining, this year's celebration provides an avenue for Nigeria and Saudi Arabia to strengthen their bilateral ties that has existed for many decades. The Minister of State for Aviation lodged on this opportunity by stating the prospects in Nigeria's aviation sector which the two countries could benefit from.
If we can have bilateral cooperation between Nigeria and the US, for example, there's nothing stopping us from having one between us and Saudi Arabia. At least we even trade in a common item, which is the oil.
and so on and so forth. And I could see that Saudi Arabia currently they are concessioning the airports. That's what concerns me, and they did it very well. So I think that I will borrow from that.
Charged the affairs of the Saudi Embassy, Abuja, Muhammad Al-Fawzan re-emphasized a variety of investment opportunities which could improve trade and investments in both public and private sectors of the two countries.
Oil-producing countries, Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. Now in this era in particular, we need to rely on other resources in order to add more prosperity to the two nations.
It was also noted that President Buhari's meeting with King Salman bin Abdulaziz in February last year also signifies that existing bilateral relations between the two countries has continued to strengthen. In Abuja, Garib Muhammad Atala, NTA News.
And we'll take our sports on a sad note there. Nigeria's home-based Super Eagles this evening failed to claim a double against Black Stars of Ghana in the 2017 WAFU Cup of Nations as the host won a final match by 4-1 at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. Ghana lifted the trophy as well as the prize money $100,000. Earlier in the day, Niger Republic beat Benin 2-1 to win the third-place match. The tournament was the warm-up to next year's Championship of African Nations, CHAN. And next is the weather prospects for major cities. To remind you that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. You're watching NTA Network News. Your Sunday Tonic Newsline is still ahead after these messages. To stay tuned.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail. Would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Bros, I define correct words. Huh? See the shop for that side.
I don't call that. Where be correct words?
Now the shop be down, now the next one.
Peter, see as people they pack, they go to the shop, go buy clothes. It don't reach like 5 days now. I just suspect this Tunde way this is where in Waka could carry Waka. See, I go blow whistle. I go blow whistle to Kuku spoil.
Oh, your whistle! Come on, go investigate the matter before you blow whistle. Whistle blow. Come on, come.
Thank you for coming.
Show first.
Come. Not only you the circular for this market. But we said only your shop everybody come. And you this one blow whistle. I go blow something.
This is not be whistle blowing matter. Now MTN goodie bag.
What be MTN goodie bag?
With MTN goodie bag, if you carry your market enter another level, whether na for Facebook or for WhatsApp or for Twitter, for as low as 25 naira.
25 naira.
Yes. Or buy 5 what you like for 50 naira. Dial *131# to start.
So with MTN goodie bag, your business go pure.
Nigeria is a strong emerging world economy with a population of over 170 million people. With the diligent work of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, in line with the federal government's economic diversification agenda, SON has put in place accredited laboratories to ensure that made in Nigeria products meet international standards and ready for export. SON regularly conducts products registration, certifications, factory inspections, monitoring a metrology laboratory to get accurate measurements, while SONCAP checks the conformity of imported products and the SON Legal Act to prosecute offenders. Don't sell and don't buy substandard products. Before you buy, look well. See something, say something, or call these numbers. SON, improving life through standards.
Why Abuja, the pace-setter and UNESCO-acclaimed world-class university, is the first choice of students. First university to take off with state-of-the-art structures and equipment. Benchmark, model and reference point. NUC. Best law college in West Africa. NUC. Template for engineering studies. NSE. Modern medical college and a 21st century teaching hospital. Nigeria's #1 best private university in Google Scholar ranking. Accreditation of 47 undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Freedom of religion. Modern entrepreneurial structure for 28 skills. Abuja 2017 admission still open in the postgraduate and undergraduate colleges of engineering, sciences, social and management sciences, agriculture, medicine, health sciences, except in areas law. For details, visit www.abuja.edu.ng. Email admission@abuja.edu.ng. Telephone 081-277-2121. Abuja, a vision in motion.
You don't ever buy recharge card for one network. Call which day if you use them for another one. True, you know say if you use that recharge card, they recharge any network and do many other things. Just buy one card. One card now the orange and blue recharge card. They write one card for him body. One card they recharge every network, cable television, electricity, and many other things. Plenty of with day. You fit win 1 million naira. 1 million naira generator and plenty other things. From now reach October 2017. Ask your recharge card seller.
There is a reason that Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Thanks for staying on the line. Now, a marketplace is a free zone where people meet to buy and sell goods, irrespective of the tribe, ethnic group, or religion. In some, if not all parts of the country, there are particular days set aside as special market days. On these days, goods appear to be more in the market and are sold at cheaper rates. Our focus today is on Anioma in Delta State. Eloho Agba reports that on particular market days, the custom and traditions of the people forbid certain actions. Why? Over to you, Eloho.
The Aniomas, like most tribes in Nigeria, has 4 market days. They are Eke, Ore, Afo, and Nkwo. Each of these market days varies from one village or town to another. These days have certain actions that are forbidden, which include carrying bags or luggage on both hands on market days, as it applied to the village or town. For the people of Asaba, the Nkwo market day at the Ogbogonogo markets, they do not carry things on both hands. Same goes for Okpanam on Ore market day, among other practices.
They forbid and right from before, not be today.
When you carry back with 2 hands, they will hold you. They will ask you to first of all drop it on the ground, and when you drop it, they will ask you to bring some money before you carry it up.
This aforementioned market, you cannot enter there until Omu comes first. Omu must be there between 6:30 to 7 o'clock to perform his ritual. A lot of medicine were buried there. Because of those medicine I told you that was buried, you cannot carry two things left and right. No. It is embodied in the medicine there that guides the market. If you do that now, the Omu has to find you. And the money realized now, they use it in cleansing of the market.
The Omu, who is the chief custodian of the women and young females in the communities, also oversees the activities in the markets. The Omu of Anioma, Her Royal Majesty, Obi Mata Dunku, throws more light on how the market operates.
In order to bring orderliness, our forefathers put down a set of rules guiding all the markets in Obanam and in the whole of Anioma nation. That you don't steal in the market. If you steal, there is penalty. If you carry things that disrupts others from having smooth movement, there is also penalty for that.
What is the penalty if one violates the rules and regulations?
It depends on what you're carrying. If you're carrying something of 20 naira, will you go and find the person 100 naira? No. It's just a small fee to ensure orderliness. And if you're a first-time offender, you come in, you're cautioned that you're a new person in the market. We do not do this.
So when next you visit Asaba and any other Anioma town, Becky, please ensure you find out their market days and the operational guidelines so you are not found wanting and fined or guilty as charged.
Hello, dear. I have nothing to fear because you are there to pay the fine on my behalf. And thanks for that peace. Now, how much do you know of the much talked about heterogeneous nature of Nigeria with over 250 languages and hundreds of ethnic groups? You will definitely learn more if you come along with Emmanuel Akila, who packaged the cultural enthronement of traditional rulers of the Terra people in Gombe State.
The custom of the Terra people in Deba of Yamolto Deba local government area demands that the kingmakers present 3 nominees to the state government, and one among them will be chosen to be the emir, and the government confirms this by presenting him with a letter of appointment. Upon collection of his appointment letter, the traditional circulation of the emir for 7 days is initiated, where he is isolated outside the palace to pray, seeking for wisdom from Allah on how to lead his people. The 7 days are over, and it is time for Alhaji Ahmad Usman Muhammad to be turbaned as the 37th traditional ruler and the 2nd emir of Deba.
The people from every corner of the town are trooping in to come and ask people, whom are you interested to vote? We have no answer to give them because it is only Almighty Allah that will select one among these 10 people that apply.
With all the rituals of handing over power to the new emir completed, all other title holders in the emirate, sons and daughters of Deba Emirate, took turns to pay homage on His Royal Highness, the Emir of Deba. The Terra tradition conforms with leadership roles in Islam. Hence, the turbaning of every emir of Deba is done on a Friday, so that the new emir would perform the congregational Jummah prayer that coincides with the 7th day of his circulation and prayers. After the 2 Rak'at Jummah prayer, the new emir is dedicated to Allah as the entire emirate and well-wishers pray for him for divine wisdom and guidance in leadership. With this, the emir performs his first duty as he enters the palace officially, sits on the throne, and addresses his subjects. Elated by the development, the people congratulate the emir.
Thank God. I can't say anything beyond that. the first thing is to give our thanks to the Almighty for seeing this day. The next thing is to congratulate him for having this seat as the Emir of Deba.
In the evening, the people roll out their drums in celebration, featuring the famous Ngwarda dance of the Terra people. The second day is set aside for border patrol and familiarization of the whole emirate, where the people come out to salute their royal father. A Durbar in honor of the monarch was organized with princesses and princes among the horse riders.
Congrats to the new Emir and the Terra people. Next is a special report on the origin and significance of the Islamic calendar to Muslims. Just this Friday, the new Islamic year began. It is the year 1439 after Hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina. The Hijrah is important to Muslims because it plays a vital role in the planning of their religious obligations. Over to Abdullahi Garuba Beninkuru as it takes us through the significance of the Islamic New Year.
This song reminds Muslims of how the Prophet and his co-migrants were warmly received with this rendition by the famous singer Yusuf Islam. It is exactly 1439 years since the noble Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, migrated from his hometown Mecca to Medina on a date equivalent to July 16, 622 in the Gregorian calendar. Since that time, Muslims use the Hijrah as a reference point for sober reflection in guiding their thinking and planning their activities.
So Umar in his time as the leader of the Islamic government give ruling that they are going to apply that day of Prophet migration from Mecca to Medina to be the calendar of Islam.
Then number two, one of the most important lessons is that if the Prophet could leave Mecca for those who try to endanger his life, then certainly we have to imbibe that too. One, don't try to endanger anybody's life. Then when you see that your life is endangered, you have to take precaution.
Scholars believe there is a lot more to the migration or Hijrah, as it signifies goodness, neighborliness, sacrifice, patience and peaceful coexistence as exhibited by the Prophet, his co-migrants and their hosts.
Prophet ﷺ was patient, was perseverant up to the time he was asked to leave Mecca. When he arrived in Medina, of course in Medina there are Jews and Christians living together with him. He was there and he accepted them the way they are. He allowed them to practice their religion. He did not force on anyone of them to accept Islam. But
number one lesson there is that when the Prophet left Mecca for Medina, the Ansar, those who welcomed him, they welcomed him and all those who followed him wholeheartedly. Two, they came in peace. And the Madanites, that is the people of Medina, also welcomed them in peace. So all of them, they lived in peace. One of the things that always moves me and encourages me was out of many things the Prophet did. He said, non-Muslims should contribute token amount for the security of every resident of Medina. Every, when I say every, he said everybody without counting religion. So they should contribute token amount. Then the Muslims, the able, agile, strong Muslim men will now serve as security men within the town. So in the night, they won't sleep. They'll be guiding everybody. Now you could see, if somebody could do that, including non-Muslims. So what are we talking about? So the Prophet ﷺ is a peaceful prophet, peace-loving and very calm, and he also encouraged tranquility.
There is a saying that whoever plans well will definitely succeed. One of the importance of the Islamic calendar is in planning. The Nigerian encourages Muslims to always use the Islamic calendar in planning their Islamic activities.
They are contained in the 12 months in the calendar from Al-Muharram to Zul-Hijjah, timetable or schedule of activities like the fulfillment of 3 important pillars of Islam, such as Zakat, fasting and Hajj.
As much as possible, increase what is right and decrease what is wrong. And also, in another few 7-8 days, there are very 2 important fasting, that is the Tasu'a and the Ashura. It is recommended that if you are a Muslim and you are healthy, you should do these fastings.
Muslims are encouraged to teach their world the Islamic calendar and use the beginning of the year for sober reflection and faith renewal as the new year is ushered in.
For that informative piece. Activities were lined up for 1 whole week to celebrate Katsina State as it marked 30 years of existence. The state capital was agog with ceremony as it played host to indigenes and their friends from far and wide. For the details, here is Awal Haliru.
Such was the scenario in Katsina as the state was locked in a celebration mood as it clocked 30 years of existence. Katsina State was carved out from the defunct Kaduna State precisely on the 23rd September 1987 by the then military president General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. The state was governed by 10 governors, both military and civilians. General Abdullahi Zarki Mukhtar was the first military governor of Katsina State. He recalled with nostalgia how his administration took off.
The other change which we made in the establishment of the state was government structure. On allocation of MBAs, ministries, department and agencies of government.
A night and award presentation was part of the activity to celebrate Katsina at 30, which was organized by Katsina State government. Among those honored include President Muhammad Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, past governors of the state, illustrious sons and daughters of Katsina State who distinguished themselves in their various fields of endeavor. Also, Governor Aminu Bello Masari hosted Governor of Akwa Ibom Udom Emmanuel, that of Jigawa Alhaji Muhammad Badr Abubakar, his Sokoto State counterpart Aminu Wazir Tambuwal, and Governor Abubakar Atiku of Kebbi State to a luncheon. Coincidentally, Katsina and Akwa Ibom states were the only states created someday by the Babangida administration. Governor Odom Emmanuel said the twin states have a lot in common.
These 2 states will rank among the fastest growing states in this continent.
For Governor Masari, hosting the event is a great honor to him.
There is limited service or nominal occasions and service to our people. Our honored guests who came from far and wide, as the letters continue to strengthen this bond of friendship and build the bridges of understanding.
Other activities lined up for the celebration include Islamic preaching, special Jumat prayers to thank Allah for His infinite mercies to the state.
Congratulations to Katsina State. Here's to another 30. His Royal Majesty Oba Ewari II, Oba of Benin, has urged Nigerians, irrespective of their status, to live up to expectation. This was at the royal banquet he hosted to honor the immediate past governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, whom he says has written his name in gold through outstanding performance. Goodluck Enani reports.
People from all walks of life converge on the ancient palace ground of the Oba of Benin in response to the Royal Majesty's invitation to honor a man who, despite blackmail and attack from the opposition, changed the narrative of Edo State. The Oba of Benin, Ewari II, described the occasion as a show of gratitude to the former governor for giving the state a sense of belonging.
Express our gratitude for upholding and promoting the dignity of any traditional institution, the Edo culture, and transforming Edo State in general.
Governor Godwin Obaseki described his predecessor as an agent of change.
I want to thank you for this recognition, for this acknowledgement, that there is reward for people who truly go out and serve their people.
For the former governor of Edo State, Adam Oshomole, the honor done him by the Oba of Benin is a sign of better things in his life.
I want to thank Your Majesty. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for helping us to achieve the peace.
The Oba of Benin prayed for the former governor and also presented him a royal gift.
Congratulations to the man of the people, Comrade Adams Oshomole, for the honor well deserved. We'll go to love and marriage issues in the next chapter. Eligible bachelors and spinsters are begging parents of spinsters to go easy on the cash and kind they demand as bride price. You'll find out why when we come back from this break. Stay on the line.
Cadbury Bournvita now comes in an attractive new 500-gram refill pack. Simply open and reseal after use to retain the chocolatey and creamy taste. Cadbury Bournvita. Prepare to win.
With Happy Cover from Leadway Assurance, you'll be covered for, well, almost anything. From personal cover to automobile to house, all with one single premium. Get happy. SMS happy to 22865 and we'll call you back. SMS now. Live happy with Leadway Assurance. Ensuring happiness since 1970.
You don't ever buy the recharge card for one network. Come which day if you use them for another one. True, you know say if you use that recharge card, they recharge any network and do many other things. Just buy one card. One card now the orange and blue recharge card. They write one card for anybody. One card they recharge every network, cable television, electricity, and many other things. Plenty of move day. You fit win 1 million naira. 1 million naira generator and plenty other things. From now reach October 2017. Ask your recharge card seller.
The secret to my everyday radiance is that chocolate glow. It gives me confidence.
I'm gonna make my hair.
Congratulations, girl. Here is chocolate for you. Chocolate.
I couldn't have asked for better.
Chocolate waves come in different styles and sizes. It's 100% human hair, long-lasting and affordable. I just upped my game with chocolate waves.
Sweet life, chocolate hair.
Happier by Chivita. Burst of refreshment.
House of Chi.
Welcome back. Now, when boy meets girl and their friendship blossoms into love relationship, more often than not, it leads to marriage proposal that ends up with the two becoming one. Nice. What Mohammed Abdulkadir finds fascinating in all of this is how most Nigerian men these days propose marriage to their women. Mohammed says he has silently observed that the man goes down on one knee to ask the woman to be his wife. What he wants to know is whether this is cultural or just part of a new social order in marriage in Nigeria today.
Different strokes for different folks best describe the norms in the developed and developing climes regarding marriage proposal by men. Kneeling posture is undoubtedly a body language trending in marriage proposal by men to the opposite sex.
Oh my God! I've been expecting you to see this for the past month. Oh my God, you just want my heart.
He has to go down his knee and beg me and like, it's not just easy now. There are many guys.
Putting on my thinking cap to reflect on the generational changes in proposing marriage to ladies in Nigeria and elsewhere, I therefore embarked on a fact-finding mission to know if the act is culturally implied and applied.
Culturally, a man don't propose directly. It's not part of a tradition.
It's not proper for a man to kneel down to propose marriage to a lady.
We have if you want to marry a wife, we are not sit down and need to beg the woman. No, not like that.
Does it have to do with the influence of civilization and globalization?
We have to roll with the civilization of what is happening.
What is the position of religion on assuming kneeling posture when proposing to ladies?
There's no need of going on your knees. That is awkward.
Kneeling down for a woman or kneeling down for a man because you want to win the love is not permitted.
Seeking a lady's hand in marriage on kneeling position elicits mixed reactions.
It's one of the plus and the reason why she would want to say yes.
I don't think it's necessary to kneel down.
Kneeling down will make her feel happy.
Of course, it's more romantic that way.
Does the act confers sense of inferiority complex on the part of the giver and superiority complex on the part of the receiver?
To treat her as a queen.
It's a barbaric idea anyway, to me. I believe they don't know what they are going for.
What about the pride and arrogance on the side of the weaker sex when men who are adjudged stronger sex kneel down to beg for hands in marriage? This is a food for thought.
Modernity is taking over many aspects of our lives. Something funny, someone once said that after the proposal, the lady will be the only one kneeling in a marriage. Anywho, the most important thing is love, and another thing, mutual respect. Next up, in this story, boy has met girl, and they have gone down the path of friendship to love relationship that has ended in marriage. How did the groom propose? We don't know. All we know is that theirs is a cross-cultural marriage between Katsina and Borno State. Very nice. The groom from Katsina State is a son of one-time executive director of programs at the NTA, Malam Ahmed Sule. For more about this, here is Chimdimma Ndabisi.
Say knows no bounds. That's exactly what's playing out here as Ahmed Bello Sule of Hausa Instruction and son of former executive director programs of the NTA, Malam Bello Sule, after setting his eyes on a Kanuri maiden, could not resist marrying her. With 12 gold coins paid as dowry, the marriage was contracted.
za a daura auren Ahmed Bello da Hadiza Kubra Amin ya Rabbi Fatiha.
I met her at school far back in India 4 years back. Yeah, I met her disease. So all from there on, relationship carries on, and yeah, it's all fine. We get to get together right now. This is one of the best things I could ever have in my life. Been married to my best friend, and I'm glad.
And inshallah, we did it because of the ibadah. May Allah make it successful.
A wedding of this nature is not devoid of an array of dignitaries. Yes, they came in their numbers. The executive, legislature, past and serving, as well as the business class. All hard words on cementing cultures.
This is a sign of to maintain peace and unity within the nation.
So now we are going out of Borno to get houses and Fulanis and the rest. And that is the best way to live.
That is how it should be, because that is the only way for national integration, for cooperation, for synergy.
There were much more, especially from their immediate constituency, the families.
He should tolerate her, and I'm advising her to be obedient to her husband.
Understanding between the husband and the wife is very important.
Wish them happy marriage life. We pray that Allah would bless this relationship,
and we hope to see more of such marriages, especially amongst us in the broadcast profession.
And we say amen to these prayers and wishes for the couple.
Congrats to the new couple. We wish them all the best. If you have your ears to the ground, you would have heard it said by almost everybody that men are by nature polygamous. They say even when a man insists he cannot marry more than one wife, he usually has one or more women by the side that is not officially attached to. It takes care of them same way or even better than it takes care of his wife at home. So while he carries on about being one man, one woman type of person, he's only deceiving himself. But truth be told, there are men who are strictly one man, one woman. Some men are outrightly polygamous and they make no fuss about it. There is, however, an unending debate on whether or not a man should be content with one wife. Ngino John Adams in Lagos sought opinions.
Marriage is generally known as a union between a man and a woman that creates a family tie and is backed legally, socially, and religiously. This institution can take the form of one man, one wife, which is monogamy, one man, many wives, which is polygamy, or one woman, many husbands, which is polyandry, as the case may be. Ancient days in Africa were characterized by one man marrying more than one wife, as it was believed that one's wealth depended on the number of children one had. Some men married many wives so as to have many children who would assist them on farms, as farming was the major source of income. This perhaps may be the reason for the population explosion in Africa, with Nigeria as the most populous black nation in the world, with about 200 million people. Countries like China witnessed population explosion, where the number of people outstretched national resources, which made the Chinese government to come up with the policy of one man, one woman, one child to control population. With the advent of religion and modernism, some have voluntarily embraced the concept of one man, one wife, with some still practicing polygamy.
Based on, what the Bible, said if a man find a wife, the Bible didn't say, when a man finds wives, as it were.
If you can promise I can do equally among the 4 wives, then marry 4 wives.
I'm comfortable with one wife, one husband, and try as much as you can to build a platform to have the time for the children.
I cannot marry a man that wants to marry more than one wife. I prefer more than one man, one wife is better.
Some religious scholars give various opinions on the issue.
My religion, which is Islam, it allows up to 4 wives. But there is caution in that. God loves us. That caution is, can you be equal on your 4 wives?
Jesus' instructions to us in the New Testament doesn't leave any room for polygamy, because then the Bible says that a man shall leave his mother and his father, and a woman shall leave his mother and the father, and they two shall become one.
It is, however, believed that whatever the case may be, the most important thing is the peace of the family and society as a whole.
And what can I say? Different strokes for different folks. Still on marriage in Nigeria and Africa generally, it is traditional for the family of an intending groom to pay some amount of money with specified items to the family of the prospective bride. It is called bride price. The sum of money and amount of goods vary from one tribe to another. However, it has become obvious to the point of worry that the bride price in some parts of Nigeria has escalated beyond the capacity of intending grooms. This is why there are many eligible bachelors in Nigeria today. The ripple effect of this is a lot of ladies on the shelf. Who can do something about it? Annie Daniels reports.
Recently, the paramount ruler of Tivland, Tor Tiv, James Ayase, advised his subjects against requesting for expensive bride price. This sparked a lot of reactions.
Girls plenty, men know they marry them because of the bride price.
With these, and very aware that bride price occupy a very prominent seat in traditional marriages in Nigeria, NewsLine sought whether the issue of expensive bride price applies to other ethnic groups.
In Akwa Ibom State, for example, it used to be 30 shillings in those days, in the 50s and the 60s, which in real terms today is about 60 naira. But strangely, of recent, people collect as much as about 100,000 naira from people, even more.
My area in Edo State, we don't charge so much. Bride price is 24 naira.
Oh, see now?
Yeah, it's Tabai, 24 naira. You go and look for the coins. Make sure it's 24 naira. The Yoruba land is like, because they ask you to go and bring anything you have.
Like I, for one, when my daughter want to get married, I return, I charge the parents who is marrying for me 5,000. I return 4,000 to them. I hold 1,000 to myself. I say, she use that money, balance money to go and take off my daughter, that I wish them long life.
The dowry should not be more than 15,000, but he has to cook for my family.
Some respondents argue that getting married to women from some parts of Nigeria can lead a young man to engage in unwholesome acts.
In most cases, people borrow money to go and sort out issues of marriage.
As for these respondents, it's not so much the bride price as it is the contents of items requested of the groom by the bride's family.
Normally there is a list given. They can even tell you should build a house for them, or buy a car, sewing machine, or educate some members of the family.
They tell you to bring goats, soap, cream.
Why do people demand so much from prospective suitors?
Maybe she's a graduate or is intelligent, beautiful.
They are trying to sell their child.
Out of curiosity, we wanted to know whether these respondents will still go ahead and get married, regardless of how much it may cost them.
I won't marry her again.
You can go away with your daughter.
And for those who will still go on with the marriage, well, the fact that they paid so much in cash and kind affects their relationship with the bride or her family.
You can treat her anyhow, because what you have paid on her is more or less like you have bought her from her parents.
I've seen a case of a man who went out of his way just to satisfy the in-law. And he now told the in-law, look, now your daughter is my property. It became a serious issue.
For these respondents, only cultural values of economic and social benefits should be promoted. And one last plea from these respondents.
Our men used to go outside and marry.
They should come and marry us. Our money is expensive. We are not ourselves.
Wow, those girls say they are not expensive. Please feel free to marry them. There's nothing holding you back now. I am sure they speak the minds of other Nigerian girls. In the next chapter, updates of crime reports featured previously and fresh ones on some unfortunate incidents. Stay on the line for these thrillers. Let's take another break.
Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem promptly through revival of agriculture.
Is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60k like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
Welcome to the land of Sahel Savannah, of rolling hills and open plains, the land of emirs and eminent personalities, of the Daba and ancient festivals, polo players and traditional boxers. Welcome to Katsina State, the most hospitable state in Nigeria, land of highly educated and dependable labor force, of warmth, receptive and colorful people and places, of food and delicacies untold, the land with hidden treasures of golds and precious metals, a vibrant and attractive economy. Welcome to Katsina State, investors' next destination.
If you need help to give Mama a helping hand, please raise your hand. And if you're not quite satisfied after playing hard and need more energy, please raise your hand. And if you still need more to keep going, let's see those hands sky high to receive Freshio, the nourishing, thick and delicious yogurt drink that fills you up for what's ahead. Natural goodness of yogurt. Freshio, fill up and keep going.
The Federal Roads Maintenance Agency wished to inform the public that due to logistic issues, the bid opening dates earlier scheduled for Tuesday, September 26th and Thursday, September 28th, 2017 for Category 2 and 3 respectively has been postponed to further notice. This is in line with Section 28, Subsection B of the Public Procurement Act 2017 and as stated in our published advertisements. A new date will be communicated to all bidders and intending bidders in due course. Management Announcer.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
The production and distribution of counterfeit medicine and adulterated food products have negative impact on our health and economy as a whole. I urge all Nigerians to support NAFDAC in safeguarding our health. God bless Nigeria.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
I feel alive, so alive when I'm with my best friends, indulging my G-Exotic taste of paradise. Irresistible, everywhere I go, G-Exotic. Nothing makes my drink more than when the mixer is delightful, G-Exotic. And after a long day, I wanna relax with the taste of my G-Exotic. Yeah, sinking and get lost. Taste of relaxation, too good not to share. The taste of perfection. Oh, say I love the taste of G-Exotic. I love the taste of celebration. Love the taste of G-Exotic. Nothing like the taste of my G-Exotic. I love the taste of G-Exotic. Nothing like the taste of my G-Exotic.
I love the taste.
G-Exotic nectar. I love the taste.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Welcome back. The culprit had a bad dream about the victim's mother. She then armed herself with a jar of acid and went straight on to bathe the victim with it. This took place in Asaba, and we reported it. While the culprit has been apprehended by the law, the victim, Judith John Paul, is still in hospital undergoing surgeries. We have an update on her progress as reported by Elo Agra. Some of the visuals are graphic. We advise viewer discretion.
Shortly after the skin grafting surgery performed on her, Judith John Paul is hoping to get a new look. Less than 24 hours after the surgery, this is the result after the bandage was taken off.
I'm a civil servant. I don't have money. I'm still appealing to the government and to the public and to the honorable members and other peoples to come to my aid and assist me so that my daughter can come out well.
I still want people to still help me in this condition that I am so that I can get back on my feet again.
The Chief Medical Director of FMC Asaba, Dr. Victor Siatuma, said Judith will still undergo a series of surgeries.
She has had 2 surgeries done so far. The last one was a skin grafting. And the post-graft outlook is quite satisfactory. I expect well many Nigerians to come to her aid. The father obviously cannot foot the bill, the cost of the treatment. Left ear, she lost a pinna. Eventually, when the skin heals properly, we'll have to do a testing, hearing testing for her. If hearing is still intact, then you will start thinking of fashioning out, reconstructing the pinna for her and all that. Her left eye was badly affected. The cornea is scarred, and invariably she has lost sight in that left eye. Ultimately, when the wounds are all healed, she may require an artificial, eye to replace what she has there. And all these are cosmetic and they cost quite a lot of money.
Somewhere many Nigerians who are staff of Central Bank of Nigeria Asaba branch have made a donation of 1.3 million naira for Judith's surgical operation.
We saw it on NewsLine. It was very touchy. I call on other establishments to come to FMC and assist this poor girl.
Judith John Paul was baited with acid at the entrance to her church at Okpanam by a neighbor who alleged that she dreamt of Judith's mom giving Judith's hand in marriage to her husband. The suspect is still remanded at Agbo prison. Judith John Paul, her dream of becoming a pharmacist, may be aborted without the much needed support she desires.
Judith still has more surgeries to go. All she needs is funding. Moving on, if I asked you how many times you eat every day, you most likely would say once, twice, or 3 times regularly. How many times do you take your bath regularly? Once a day? Maybe your response. Now, if I asked how often you check your health status, you most likely will falter in your response, because that is one thing most Nigerians don't do regularly. But that is one thing we all must do regularly so that we can save 9 with a stitch in time. In this report, Joyken Abakboya captures the essence of regular medical checkup.
When the World Health Organization pegged life expectancy of Nigerians to somewhere around 50 years, the general reaction was to blame our poor health facilities. What many Nigerians have refused to realize is that prevention, as they always say, is better than cure. Regular checkup is a major way of preventing illnesses. But how often do Nigerians visit their doctors?
There's no time to start, just walk to the hospital, and I'm always on the road.
Myself and my family, we go for medical checkups 4 times a year.
Most of the time when I feel somehow in my body, that's when I go. These views represent the position of many Nigerians when it comes to health issues. But are there dangers in situations like this, where many people appear to either be guessing or not willing to know their exact health status?
If we did medical checks, then we would spend less on diseases. For example, cancer is a disease that you can take care of very easily if you find it early. And it's very, very, very expensive. It can actually make a family bankrupt if you don't find it early.
How often should one carry out medical checkup?
It depends on the disease profile of the patient.
Depends on the age, depends on a lot of things. But medical checks should be done at least once a year, especially if you don't have an existing illness.
One fact that many respondents may not be willing to disclose is consumption of unverified or unapproved herbs and concoctions. How healthy are these products?
You cannot claim that all herbal medication is bad. That's not the truth. But I think what it needs to do, that particular aspect needs to do, is to regulate it and fine-tune it and subject it to some scientific research, so that if you're saying, oh, this thing has the power to cure malaria, it's possible that it actually has some anti-malaria in it. Let somebody research it, let's know what the right dose is, let's know what the side effects are, let's know the things that are, when the patient has completed treatment and when the patient needs to stop.
Poverty, high cost of medical services and lack of awareness are some reasons given by Nigerians for not carrying out medical checkups. How can this be addressed?
If you make medical checks free, you need to give people incentives to do that, because we don't have the culture of it. Another thing is the awareness and education. It's only when people are exposed, that's when they become aware that, oh, this is beneficial, because they have to see the benefit.
Regular checks to prevent sickness, experts say, may after all be the solution to longevity and not necessarily well-equipped hospitals to cure advanced ailments.
We can't stress it enough, medical checks prolong your life. By the way, there's nothing to be afraid of. The awareness campaign is unrelenting. It's on television, radio, in the dailies. Human trafficking is an offense punishable by law. The dangers of trafficking and being trafficked are real. The same applies to those who seek greener pastures through short courts. Government and non-governmental organizations in this country are doing everything possible to contain the menace, but as you would hear in this report, the battle is far from over. Makut Simon Macham came up close and personal with two victims of human trafficking and is set to relay the encounter.
Gift Jonathan is 23 years old and a mother of two. As a young lady, she aspired for a better life for herself and her children until she was lured and trafficked to Libya with a promise of work in Europe. Her ordeal is heartbreaking.
When I left this country, when I was going from Nigeria, they told me I was going to Germany, that if I get to Germany, I'm going there to school. They never told me it was prostitution. And that was when they told many girls I met there. So when I was in Libya, they sold me in Libya in a flat where God will bring different kinds of guys inside. They will sleep with you, pay you just money that is not even close to 2,000 naira in Nigeria, 1,000 naira in Nigerian money. So the suffering there was really hell.
Like Gift, Blessing, 23, was trafficked to Russia. Her story is no different.
So the ugly experience is that when you get there, in fact, you can sleep with 30 men in a day. 20, depends on how. You will stay in the streets. If they don't understand what is snow, cold, you'll be there. You in fact, will freeze. Police will do their own. Your madam will do their own. I have a friend, she died. So many of them like that. Some, they will come either one leg broken or their waist is bent, or one sickness or the other.
Thanks to the efforts of the Nigerian government and well-spirited Nigerians, the two returned home and were faced with new challenges of survival. Today, that reproach and fear is gradually fading as they are undergoing rehabilitation and training at Amina Academy in Benin City.
And now I wouldn't have the courage to advise young girls that there is hope here in Nigeria, not by traveling and there's nothing out there. Do something, acquire skills. Like now, I'm very proud of myself. I can bake, I can cook very well. Things I can't really do before, I cannot do that. I never knew this kind of life as this. Anything, just name any cake, so I can do it. I really appreciate them. They are like God sent to my life.
Nobody comes out here a failure. That's our principle. And as to how do we achieve this? Through mentoring, through counseling, through practical engagement.
Now, the experiences of Blessing and Gift clearly brings out two issues. First, how to stop human trafficking from taking place, and secondly, how to deal with those who return either voluntarily or are repatriated. Clearly, there's a need for stakeholders to do more in tackling this issue.
People need to learn from others. Do not be deceived into fleeing the country by any means available. You may not live to tell the story. A wise old saying has it that a bad neighbor is a misfortune as much as a good one is a great blessing. This saying played out in the life of 9-year-old Mmesoma Uwagugu, whose life was saved by the benevolence of neighbors after being allegedly battered and dehumanized by her maternal uncle. Franklin Oyekachi reports that it all happened in Onitsha. We advise viewer discretion. Some of the visuals are graphic.
Residents of number 4 Obidiaso Street, Awado Bosi, in the Demle North Local Government area of Anambra State, were alerted by occupants of a building next to theirs, where a little girl on the 4th floor was crying. On getting up there, they found brutalized 9-year-old Mmesoma, whose maternal uncle is her guardian. Mmesoma is said to be an orphan. The neighbors rallied round and took Mmesoma to the hospital, where she received medical treatment for about 10 days. While in the hospital, the neighbors provided for her clothing and feeding. Mrs. Juliana Okeke, one of the neighbors, and her son volunteered to stay with Mmesoma in the hospital.
I looked through the protector and saw Mmeso. All her body is wounded.
The man beat the girl every day. The man doesn't give the girl food. It was this one I leave at 3 back. I give the girl food.
The neighbors saw to the arrest and detention of the girl's uncle, Mr. Chigozie Obilo, a father of 3 young children, at the Awada police station, which granted him bail after 3 days. The Awada divisional police officer, when contacted, referred the news crew to the Anambra police headquarters in Oka. The culprit narrated how he returned from the hospital where his wife had put to bed and had cause to suspect that his 9-year-old niece, who was left alone in the house, had been violated. He admitted flogging her in order to extract information on what happened to her.
Why I beat her is because of what happened, because she's supposed to tell me the truth. I was very, very angry because of what happened at the past. So I asked her to tell me who did that thing to her. She refused. That's why I started flogging her.
His neighbors, however, dismissed Obilo's allegation as a baseless story concocted against a cobbler in the neighborhood.
He said that our Hausa people were there for the yard, raped the girl.
Since all this while, those Hausa people, they are here. Because if they rape the girl, they would have run. But since they don't rape the girl, they see here. That is why I said that the girl was not raped.
Mohammed, the accused cobbler, was available to debunk the allegation.
No, be me now. Me don't come out to Bagu Wakana. Now, 7 o'clock, don't come back here.
Little Mmesoma also told NTA News her own side of the story.
Who did this thing to you?
My uncle.
What did you do?
I go to go and buy something, and I did not come back on time, and she started flogging me in my ears.
Has he been beating you?
Yes.
How does he beat you?
He used wire and cane and flog me.
The 9-year-old last attended school as a primary 2 pupil. She still awaits the settlement of her treatment bill at the hospital, after which she may return to the same alleged abusive uncle, who is officially her next of kin.
Also sad how adults violate the children they ought to protect. Thank goodness the neighbors came to the rescue. This incident is unfortunate. It happened in Kano State, precisely at Tudu Murtala quarters located in Nasarawa local government area. In this community, petroleum products are sold indiscriminately. So when a fire broke out, we are not surprised to learn that it spread widely. Sadly, we are told that 5 people from same family were consumed. Ali Adamu reports.
It was a tragic day as residents of Tudu Murtala gathered at the scene of the fire incident after a fruitless effort to rescue the occupants that were said to be trapped inside the building. The building is a 4-room apartment belonging to Idris Suleiman and his family. NewsLine gathered that one of Idris Lemon's sons, Musa, for some years has been selling petroleum product by the roadside and usually stored the product inside the farmless compound whenever he closes business for the day. Eyewitness account says the fire started around 10:30 in the morning when Musa took the product for his customer and his sister was cooking close to the site where he keeps the petroleum products.
Between that fire that his sister is cooking with and the petrol that he is measuring, there come a burst and the flame went up sky high. So it was as a result of that his mother, the son of his brother and his sisters, and the daughters of his brothers also and his sisters, the four of them died.
Musa and his sister Wasila, who survived the incident, sustained serious burns and are believed to be receiving treatment at the Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital.
sai take ban sako ya kamata in je
about a week I didn't go out for business, so this day my mother requested some money which prompted me to go out. As I rushed to take the fuel out, the fire started.
Allah da barin dura an aji ashe da rabon tsotsayi ne a kaina.
Report reaching NewsLine, however, indicate that the sister Wasila has also passed on when filing this report. Executive Director, Kano State Fire Service, Mohammed Mustafa Rilwan, confirmed the incident, saying it was the combined effort of his men and that of residents that assisted in rescuing the two survivors.
So immediately we turned out our vehicle to the scene of the incident. On arrival at the scene of the incident, the officer in charge informed us that people are trapped in the building, so he also requested for an ambulance. So we had to turn out an ambulance to the scene of the incident. Other request was that the fire is serious, so additional vehicles were turned out to the scene of the incident. Then we continued with the extinguishing of the fire. The fire was put off within a reasonable time.
He advised the public to always desist from the habit of keeping petroleum products in residential houses, as they have their consequences when ignited.
Makes it very painful is that the tragedy could have been avoided, but the dead rests in peace. Remember Ali Ahmadu, the little boy who fell victim to attack by Boko Haram insurgents and lost his mobility? A fortnight ago, we told you that a non-governmental organization had taken charge of expenses for corrective surgery on him. He was flown to Dubai for that. We have an update on this development, and Blessing Abu is our guide.
Left Nigeria en route to Dubai for a corrective surgery on spinal cord injuries sustained as a result of being run down by Boko Haram insurgents when they invaded Chibok and abducted about 200 schoolgirls. His fate was not certain. But then there was optimism that Ali could be on his feet once again. That optimism has now become reality. Dickinson Foundation, which supported GIPLC, the non-governmental organization that accompanied him to Dubai, sent in information that the 5 to 6 hour surgery was successful, and after 48 hours in intensive care, as if prompted, Ali is back on his feet and taking great steps to a new lease of life. This new joy of walking all over the place as he recuperates can only be better felt by those who know and saw the Boko Haram child victim few weeks ago, who for 3 years endured pains and lost hope of ever being normal until his vulnerable condition was brought to the fore. That is now history. Ali Ahmadu cannot wait for his feet to touch down Nigeria and run all over his community, Chibok, once more.
Very, very inspiring. Yes, wishing little Ali absolute recovery. We're getting to the final pages in our book of stories. Should we tell you more? Let's take the last break and come back to tell you what next. Stay on the line.
Success. I always wanted to make something of myself.
even when I was a child. With So Clean, my mother made sure that my clothes were clean and bright. With a 30% concentrated formula, washing is faster, brighter, and cleaner. Like millions of families, mine also trust So Clean. With my clothes and with my career. Because when all eyes are on you, you have to look the part. So Clean. It's your time to shine.
So Clean. Now with a new look and stain magnet technology for even better stain removal.
From our wonderful family, meet our active triplets. Mixology, for example, mixes well with drinks. Then enjoy every quick meal with Slurp It Off. And everywhere you go, there is Go-Gurt. Packed with healthy nutrition, nourishing vitamins, power of protein, strength of calcium, revitalizing energy, Hollandia Yogurt is bursting with goodness inside and out. Hollandia Yogurt, it's all good. Hollandia!
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This is actually where we close our book of stories tonight. NewsLine is an unending series, so stay on the line while we fine-tune the plots of the stories in next week's edition. Very interesting, trust me. On this last Sunday in the month of September, we wish you well. Good night and God bless Nigeria.